This picture shows the leaders of America's closest allies all looking in one direction, while President Trump looks in the other direction. Although it's just a photo, it speaks to the issue of America's alliances and where we stand. We start our conflict in Iran. In 2015, the US and 5 other countries reached a deal with Iran regarding the restrictions of their nuclear program in exchange for lifting of its sanctions. In the picture here, it shows the danger and destruction of what Iran would do without the deal. It shows within 2 to 3 months, Iran can make up to 19,000 centrifuges. But with our deal, we limit them to only making 6,104 centrifuges. Our Iran deal eliminates pathways into creating a bomb, which in the end helps make the world safer. Although, in 2018, under President Trump's orders, the US pulled out of the Iran deal due to President Trump saying it was not tough enough. Trump claims this was a horrible, one-sided deal that should have never, ever been made. He also states that it did not bring calm or peace and never will. This was a very controversial move. The public eye in both countries frowned upon Trump due to this move causing Iran to capture and torture US citizens and taking them as hostages. Forwarding January 3, 2020, General Qasem Soleimani was killed to the United States through drone and missile strikes. Trump ordered this strike because it was alleged Qasem Soleimani was planning on targeting to attack a US embassy or attack immigrants that endangered the American lives. This assassination was extremely controversial because it was not confirmed he would attack the Americans, and this event showed a torn relationship between the US and Iran. Iran promised punishment and pain towards the US. In response to the attack, Iran shot down Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752. This attack killed 176 innocent people. This example here shows how Trump runs America with a harsh, independent role. President Trump does not want the country to take advantage of the United States, understandably so. With many other deals like the Iran deal or the relations with South Korea and the NATO budget, he wants America to step up and stop being stepped on by other countries. Trump really wants to enforce an independent nation mixed with an equal and strong nation. President Trump also had plans on pulling out of NATO due to the weak ties to the other country it has. On the other hand, Joe Biden in his term as vice president in office has been questionable. Like Obama, he was against on strict relations. For example shows with the Iran deal, which in my opinion was very weak because it didn't highlight Iran's other activities with the US, such as terrorism towards its citizens there and hostages.
Tensions with South Korea. Trump's attitude towards South Korea is very aggressive. Trump also wants a fivefold increase in payments. South Korea spends roughly 2.5% of its gross domestic product on armed forces, while the U.S. spends 3% of its gross domestic product on armed forces. The United States believes that the host nation should pay for the cost associated with South Korea. Also, they believe the host nation should cover the salaries. South Korea should pay the U.S. in the event they go to war. South Korea is making America spend lots of money with American troops being stationed there. South Korea and U.S. relations after the election. Trump, as of right now, has a fairly good relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. If Trump wins, he will most likely maintain this relationship. Trump states his relationship with Kim Jong-un is helping keep the U.S. at peace with them being North Korea, and preventing a war, or worse, a nuclear war. Kim Jong-un has also shown his relationship with Trump, as he openly stated that he hoped Trump recovered from COVID. On the other hand, Biden has called Kim Jong-un a thug, a dictator, and a tyrant, and even comparing him to Adolf Hitler. The problem here is that when you address a leader like Kim Jong-un, you always use respect. Biden using these mean and rude terms is showing that he has no respect for Kim Jong un, which is a fairly big deal, especially when you're trying to be allies with them. Kim Jong un, in return, made numerous remarks about Biden, calling him a rabid dog who is greedy for power and deserves to be beaten to death, and a low IQ individual. Biden and Kim Jong un, if it wasn't already pretty obvious, don't really like each other, and as it looks right now, Biden may be the next U.S. president. And with that being said, North Korea isn't fond of Biden at all, and it's clearly seen with the relationship between the two leaders. And if the leaders don't like each other, then that's never good. What will happen with North Korea after the election? Well, if Trump somehow comes back and wins, North Korea will still maintain peace with America. Kim Jong un and Trump will maintain a good relationship, which is beneficial in general for both countries. If Biden wins, North Korea, already having a pretty good dislike for Biden, will probably not stop maintaining peace with the US, so they'll still be peaceful with us, but most likely won't attempt to form a good relationship with Biden. Biden, already calling Kim Jong un several names, has already made a pretty bad situation. Like I said earlier, when you address a leader, especially one like Kim Jong un, you always give them respect. You respect them no matter what. Biden not giving Kim Jong un any respect creates a big problem. This problem being that Kim Jong un isn't a big fan of Biden, and Biden feels the same way about him. There were a few news sources actually saying that Kim Jong un would continue missile launches just to taunt Biden because he knew that Biden probably wouldn't do too much about it. Biden already doesn't like Kim Jong un, so why should Kim Jong un listen to what he has to say? That being said, Kim Jong un most likely, like I said, won't stop maintaining peace with America, as that would just be bad for both countries, but he most definitely is not going to like Biden if Biden gets in office. Though I doubt he'll stop trying to work with America, he may, and if that's the case, so be it. North Korea isn't exactly an ally of America, so it's not a massive deal, but we'd rather be at peace with them than not. In the case that Biden does win, Kim Jong un will most likely come out with a statement, and if he doesn't, then oh well. Kim Jong un clearly doesn't like Biden. I mean, calling a dictator, rude names like a tyrant, comparing them to people, and calling them a thug, in their way of living, like when you live under that form of government, disrespecting the leader is a very serious crime. It's a crime punishable by God knows what. And this isn't the first time this can be seen. You can see this happening in places like Nazi Germany or the USSR or really anywhere that was run under a dictatorship. Disrespecting the leader was one of the worst things you could do, and you were probably never heard from again. So Biden won't really have anything happen to him because he doesn't live in North Korea, but Kim Jong un is definitely just not a fan of Biden, and honestly, if Biden went there, Kim Jong un would probably laugh at him, but who knows? I guess we'll have to see.
Trump's bold actions really highlight on what is going to be happening the current day. An independent role really puts a lack of faith in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. As Biden stated, we are more isolated in the world than we've ever been. This speaks to us demanding for a safer world. The fact that certain countries question to remain in NATO is disheartening. The lack of helpfulness from the US towards other nations, like the Baltic states, is a pain to see. Donald Trump is treating NATO as a weak alliance, but Joe Biden's plan is to restore faith and unite people. It's conflicting because the way Trump sees it, other countries are taking advantage of the US. But the way Biden sees it is the US is doing its job in helping other countries. So where do you stand? Who do you think could have handled the situation better regarding if we should stay isolated or independent, or Biden's plan as opening and attentive?